All animals use cognitive shortcuts to make their lives easier. For example, scientists discovered that the nurturing behavior of a mother turkey is triggered by the cheep cheep sound their baby turkeys make. If the baby duck doesn't make the sound, the mother turkey will ignore it and it may die. This is ridiculous, isn't it? It is, because in an experiment, a tape recorder was put inside an artificial cat. If the fake cat also made the cheep cheep sound, then the turkey would act nurturing towards it too. It is funny, because typically, turkeys and cats are natural enemies, but the cheep cheep sound triggers an automatic behavior in the turkey that requires no thought. Even humans have similar triggers that incite automatic and irrational responses. Usually, they are shortcuts that help us make the right decisions without having to think through things all the time. Though dealing with the complexity of life requires relying on shortcuts, we must identify and protect ourselves against tricks that other people may use to their own advantage. If you are an entrepreneur, you negotiate every day of your life. So you need to know the different triggers of human response in order to get a yes from your negotiation encounters.
Welcome to Nurtured by Books, a community where young entrepreneurs find ideas from books that make businesses successful. If you are new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on insightful content like this.
In this video, we are going to share with you 7 weapons of influence to persuade anyone from Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert Cialdini. Number 1. Perceptual contrast. This is a principle in human perception that affects the way we see the difference between two things that are presented one after another. If the second item is fairly different from the first, we tend to see it as more different than it actually is. Look, if you have a client who wants a sweater and a suit, what do you sell first? You have to sell the suit, which is more expensive, first, then the sweater. To the client, the sweater will look very cheap and it won't take him time to decide. Number 2. Reciprocation. As humans, we have a natural urge to pay back gifts and favors we have received. In our cultural and social settings, it is morally appropriate to reciprocate favors. People who don't return favors are negatively judged by others. The rule of reciprocation states that we should repay in kind what another person has provided us. The rule does not require us to have asked for the favor in order for us to return it. There is an obligation to receive and an obligation to repay. Although the obligation to repay constitutes the essence of the rule of reciprocity, it is the obligation to receive that makes the rule so easy to exploit. The obligation to receive reduces our ability to choose whom we wish to be indebted to, and thus puts the power in the hands of others. Do you want someone to take any action? Trigger a feeling of indebtedness by doing them an uninvited favor. If you don't, someone will trigger that feeling in you. Number 3. Commitment and consistency. As human beings, we want to be perceived as beings of integrity, ones who keep their word. We want to be consistent with what we have done and said in the past. Unfortunately, this human tendency can lead us down the path of foolish consistency. If someone can make us do a small action, then we'll be more likely to do larger actions consistent with it in the future. According to Dr. Cialdini, people will hide inside the walls of consistency to protect themselves from the troublesome consequences of thought. The response of consistency is usually incited by the trigger of commitment. If you get someone to commit, they would want to prove how consistent they are with their promises. If you get someone to commit, you have set a stage for that person's automatic consistency with the earlier commitment. Once a stand is taken, there is a natural tendency to behave in ways that are stubbornly consistent. Number 4. Social proof. We copy the actions of other people. We tend to follow what others are doing. If we see many people taking one path, then we assume it's correct for us to do it too. Actually, the principle of social proof states that the means we use to determine what is correct is to find out what other people think is correct. Cabot Robert, a sales consultant, said, "Since 95% of people are imitators, people are persuaded more by the actions of others than by any other proof one can offer. That is why applications request you to rate them. Some authors even pay people to write good book reviews on their books on Amazon. Authors write the number of book copies sold on the front cover of their books. All this is social proof. If 5 million copies of a book have been sold and the book has been translated into 41 languages, isn't that book worth buying?" Social proof says that the greater number of people who find any idea correct, the more the idea will be correct. But what causes social proof? Why do we always seek out what others are doing and base our actions on that? It is because of uncertainty. When we are unsure of ourselves, when the situation is unclear, we are likely to look at others and accept their actions as correct. So if you don't want to be a victim of social proof, do enough research, acquire all the knowledge you need before making a decision. Number 5. Authority. Information from a recognized authority can provide us with a valuable shortcut for deciding how to act in a situation. From birth, humans are taught to obey those in authority. We often do so without hesitation. If there is no reliable evidence of a person's authority, we will rely on symbols to conjecture. Title is a common tool. When someone says they're a professor, we tend to automatically be respectful, passive, accepting each other's points of view, and even see them as taller. If you notice, we often listen to elders because we think they carry wisdom with them. They know better than we do. Clothing is another symbol of power that can draw us to mechanical consensus. Although it is more tangible and obvious than a title, the appearance of power is also very easy to fake. Police who maintain records of scams say that these criminals' advantage is their ability to transform quickly. They can use the white doctor's uniform, the black priest's uniform, or the military green that the situation requires to achieve the greatest effect. By then, it is too late for the victim to realize that he has been deceived by the appearance of power. Number 6. Liking. As a rule, we must prefer to say yes to requests of people we know and like. Total strangers use this rule to get us to comply with what they want. How do we make people like us? Attractiveness of one's appearance is one of the likability factors. It is the cause of the halo effect. A halo effect occurs when a person's appearance dominates how people judge and perceive that person. Studies show that we tend to consider good-looking people to be likable, intelligent, kind, and trustworthy. Similarity. We like people who are similar to us, whether it's sharing opinions, personality traits, background, and even lifestyle. Compliments. We generally love getting compliments, even if they are not true. Contacts. This is one reason people try to eat at the same restaurants over and over and over again instead of trying a new place. It is the reason why people listen to the same type of music. Number 7. Scarcity. The scarcity principle states that opportunities seem more valuable to us when their availability is limited. Have you watched an ad that advertises a product with a limited time offer? They tell you that a product is in short supply that cannot be guaranteed to last long, so that you rush to buy yours. Do you know goods sold on a promotion with a deadline? If you don't take the purchase in a given time, you risk buying the same product at a higher price. In this case, the scarcity is in relation to time. We are going to end this video with the words of G.K. Chesterton. The way to love anything is to realize it is lost. In summary, people tend to use shortcuts in behavior to make decision-making easier. Scammers, advertisers, and salespeople often take advantage of this trait. Because the use of shortcuts is inevitable, we need to be alert to fully understand and protect ourselves against those tricks. If you are an entrepreneur, use these weapons of influence to your own advantage to be an expert at closing business deals.
Thank you so much for watching our videos. If you have found this one valuable, give it a thumbs up and share it with people you think it may help. Be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on interesting content like this. Turn on the notification bell to be the first to know when we upload a new video. Check on your screen, we have handpicked 2 more videos for you to enjoy next. See you in the next video.